And I've never done this before, but this video popped up on my feed, and it was just so awful that I couldn't not talk about it. It's called King Kong versus T-Rex, who would win, but the ape that they present is supposed to be Gigantopithecus, but we're gonna explore that a little bit. So buckle in, because this one really got my goose, and I hope you like me doing responses to bad paleontology and ecology videos, because I will continue to do so if you like it. Okay, so this is Brightside, is the production that's doing this. They do these weird little animations, but they're supposed to be educational, right? And they're supposed to have factual information in them. So I'm going to be a little bit nitpicky about this, because they need to get just a little bit of research goes a long way. All right. At first I read that as Flabby John. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, thank you, cutie pie. Here's the T-Rex. And I mean, it's weird because this wrist is pronated, but this one's not. Or maybe they both are pronated. Anyway, dinosaurs don't have pronated wrists like this. They don't, like the Jurassic Park dinosaurs where they're rawr. They're not. Their arms are like this. Because that's where birds started flapping and suddenly you're flying. Yeah, but dinosaurs, theropods specifically, had wrists that went inward. Not like you're seeing here. All right. The video's muted. Okay, let me see. It doesn't. There's nothing of value is said, but
ooh, the ground below your feet is rumbling. You hear a scary roar in the distance and think to yourself, "Okay, this is it. This is how I go." A large Tyrannosaurus Rex is heading your way. Its massive jaws wide open, the creature is ready to swallow you whole. But only until a large ape...
Yeah. See the size of that Gigantopithecus fist? Well, I mean, your dude here he's pretty huge arms too. He's like got Popeye arms. But the Gigantopithecus, yeah, it had a big old punch.
Springs out of nowhere and blocks its path.
So pay attention to the height difference here, because Gigantopithecus is maximum height estimates, like high end. The high end estimates for Gigantopithecus is 9'8", right? Or roughly, it's roughly 3 meters tall. And that's standing on its hind legs, which it wasn't. We don't believe it was bipedal. That's just not the current understanding. I mean, it may turn out at some point that changes, but right now there's no reason to infer from its habitat and behavior that it was bipedal. But this video is going to depict it as bipedal the whole time. Now, 9'8", and he gives these guys some statistics here in a minute. And they're not accurate, but they're close enough. And the Tyrannosaurus is now the largest Tyrannosaurus is Scotty, and Scotty is 42 feet long and stands roughly 12 foot tall, 4 meters at the hip, which is going to be the tallest point. So having the Gigantopithecus standing taller than the T-Rex here, taller than the T-Rex's hip. No, it's the T-Rex is going to be like an order of magnitude bigger compared to the ape here.
The Gigantopithecus. It's an actual King Kong that disappeared around 100,000 years ago.
300,000 years ago. This must be older data that they're going off of. It's believed that Gigantopithecus, there's no evidence that it lived sooner than 300 million years ago. But yeah.
While the two creatures are trying to stare each other down, you quietly sneak off to hide behind the bushes.
While the Gigantopithecus is not going to do much better against the T-Rex than our Popeye guy, to be frank.
The animals are out in the open plain. That's where
Again, it keeps showing these with the ape being taller than the theropod, and that's just not real.
the T-Rex has a home advantage. Tyrannosaurus rex means king of the tyrant lizards, and the creature deserves its name. This giant dino stood around 12 feet tall. It was also as long as a school bus, stretching 40 feet from nose to tail. It lived around 68 million years ago in North.
So, did not live 68 million years ago. The oldest is Trix, and Trix lived about 67 million years ago. So 68 million years ago has pushed it back just about a million years too far. Again, I said they gave stats that were pretty close. This is close, a lot closer than they were with the Giganto, because they said the Giganto lived three times closer to our time than it did. Where this is just off by 1/68th.
North America. Thanks to the shape of its skull, the T-Rex probably had good vision.
Excellent vision, yeah. T-Rex eyesight. That's what's so funny about the Jurassic Park thing. Oh, its vision is based on motion. That's a weird feature to give to a T-Rex, which had amazing binocular vision. I think better binocular vision than any other theropod.
But scientists claim that the animal mostly relied on its strong sense of smell when it hunted for food. The huge ape bangs on its chest and lets out a terrifying low growl. The Gigantopithecus.
So, yeah, that's another thing I didn't even mention. When the T-Rex appears, it roared, but T-Rexes, dinosaurs, as far as we know, they didn't do any kind of roaring. I mean, no more than any modern dinosaur roars. None of the sounds that they were supposed to make were roars. I don't know why it keeps kicking over to these tree-dwelling apes with gigantic melon heads.
Is the largest primate that has ever been discovered. It lived in the tropical jungles of southern China and some areas in Thailand.
And it did not look anything at all like a gorilla, like at all. It looked like a giant orangutan. It didn't live in trees. It probably did not have these proportions. This is definitely a model based on like a silverback gorilla, which is not what we expect when we talk about Giganto. It would have probably had of the flanges like you see on large male. If this was a large male, it'd have flanges like you see on a large male orang. Its facial portions would be different. Its dentition would be different. It wouldn't have quite as pronounced canines as you see in the gorilla. Its arm portions would be actually longer than the model here. Although this looks more like King Kong than any real ape. The legs would be shorter, though. The legs would be substantially shorter, based on what we know of the Pongidae family, right? Based on what we know on the pedigree of these animals. Now, a significant difference that we're going to have to talk about between these two animals is the weight difference. But let's see what happens, what they got to say about it.
When scientists discovered its jawbones, they noticed that the animal's teeth were meant to grind and chew. At the same time, the T-Rex had 60 razor-sharp serrated teeth, each of
serrated teeth the size of bananas. I mean, that long. Just banana, banana-sized teeth. Yes, absolutely massive. And yeah, there's just no way. The bite force. What is the bite force? 35,000 newtons is the bite force of a Tyrannosaurus.
About 8 inches long. Anyway, a 12-foot tall dinosaur and a 10-foot tall ape are standing.
But you show them, and you show the ape is taller in your cartoon.
Facing each other. The fight is about to begin. The T-Rex charges toward the ape. Its speed isn't really high, which gives its opponent enough.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Time to duck and roll out of the way.
So, it's not impossible that a Gigantopithecus could do a roll like this. A shoulder roll is something that orangutans can do. Other apes do shoulder rolls too when they're engaging in play or in combat. So it's not unheard of. Calling the Tyrannosaurus slow, I imagine the Tyrannosaurus would be faster on foot than the ape. Tyrannosaurs, as of 2021, are supposed to have been clocked at a speed of around 17 miles per hour. Yes, I'm using miles. I'm sorry, I'm an American, and that's how I do it. But 17 miles an hour, which is pretty darn fast, considering the size of the animal. I don't know if we don't have any estimates on how fast Giganto would have been moving or lumbering around. It probably, again, would have moved on all fours. Not saying it would have been slow, but it would have probably done more short burst or been capable of more short burst of speed than actual than actual sprinting. Whereas the T-Rex probably could have retained a higher speed for a longer period of time.
Good for the Gigantopithecus. It wouldn't be a pleasant experience to be at the receiving end of the T-Rex's bite. The dino had a bite force.
It would instantly kill you because apes lack a panniculus carnosus, which is a layer of skin. Like, you know how you can pick a cat up by its scruff of its neck, or grab a dog by the back of its neck, and you're not hurting it or anything because that skin's evolved to be grabbed and pulled. Bears have loose skin like that all over their body. A lot of seals do too. It's called Panniculus carnosus, and it's something that apes only have really in any notable amount on their face and around your genitals. The rest of your body has none of it, which means, and it's really good for animals that deal with it. That they're going to if you're going to get clawed or you're going to get bit. It's really good at making sure you don't take a hella load of damage on that, because the loose skin will pull instead of slicing. Like when a cat, for instance, sinks its claws into a dog, it just pulls a wad of skin with it. When a cat sinks its claws into you or any other ape or primate, it just drags it just drags it, because there's hardly any of that panniculus carnosus to give it that stretch. And they'll do the same thing with bites. So we're really prone to being lacerated due to the nature of our skin. And this was actually thought to have evolved because we spend so much time in the trees that we get more scrape injuries than laceration injuries. And scrape injuries are actually heal better on non-stretchy skin because they can scab over. So that's why they believe that apes lost this. Yeah, I hope I'm teaching you guys some interesting facts about biology and evolution via this terrible Brightside video. I sure hope so.
Of at least 6 tons. And no wonder, with such powerful jaw muscles. The T-Rex wasn't the fastest.
At least 6 tons is a good number, but it's 10 tons is the max. So between 6 would be a smaller T-Rex, which might be a more balanced match with the Gigantopithecus, considering that T-Rex can weigh up to 10 tons or 9,000 kilograms, whereas a Gigantopithecus, the maximum estimates, and these are the high end, and that's probably not exactly right, but max out at 300 kilograms. So again, 9,000 kilograms to 300 kilograms is the ape. So there's a huge weight disparity here, like an unforgivable weight disparity in facing these two animals off against each other. And that's if you push low estimates for the T-Rex of 6 tons and high estimates for the ape of that's 0.3 tons. Yeah, it's not even a full ton. So yeah.
Dino out there. It could only move at the average speed of 12 miles per hour, but the creature was flexible and rather smart. By the time the ape is back on its feet, the T-Rex is already charging at it, but the large ape manages to swing a punch at its opponent.
What is this ape, like a kung fu ape or something? Because, I mean, that uppercut, apes, like if you ever watch videos of two apes going at it, they do this thing like that. They're like They're not doing 30s style boxing or kung fu or anything like that. They do arching, beating each other, and grabbing and biting. Again, they do that against predators too. You see like a gorilla or chimps going after an ape. I can't think of any time I've seen an orangutan go after a predator, like a leopard or anything. I can't think of any videos that I've ever seen where that happens. Generally, they run, they don't fight. So, and I'm not saying that Gigantopithecus wouldn't have been able to fight off other animals in its environment. I'm sure it's just its sheer size that could handle most predators that shared its environment. I had some information pulled up about it. Let me pull it up again. Yeah, Gigantopithecus. I want to say... Yeah, Gigantopithecus lived from 2 million to 350,000 years ago. So now the 100 million or 100,000 years was way off. Anyway, we'll get back to the
Its
video.
incredible force almost knocks the dino out. At least it's enough to make the T-Rex see some spinning stars flying around its head. The animal's tiny arms aren't long enough to respond.
Yeah, it's always about the T-Rex's tiny arms. But remember, a T-Rex's tiny arm is still bigger than my arm. Still stronger than my arm. Yeah, it's so, I mean, the arms had uses for in copulation, I'm sure, and probably in wrestling prey items. They weren't these little fragile toothpicks like they like to talk about them. Yeah, so.
Bonding kind. If this was an arm wrestling match, the ape would surely win without breaking a sweat. Actually,
yeah, what's this crap? No, again, you're talking about a, even the small end, 6-ton Tyrannosaur against a 300 kilogram ape, right? So what does that transfer to? What's 300 kilograms? Is it about 660 pounds? Yeah, so it's there's people this size, right? I mean, big old people, but still, it's not out of the human range of size estimates, right? To be the size of a Gigantopithecus.
Actually, almost any animal could probably win hands down in an arm wrestling match against a T-Rex.
BS. I can't think of any mammal that would, maybe a Calicothere or a giant ground sloth. Not any ape. I can't think of any ape that could outarm a T-Rex. Even Gigantopithecus. It's not gonna. It's not putting its arms against T-Rex arms, right? It's putting its arms against T-Rex jaws.
But the dino hasn't been skipping leg day, that's for sure. Its massive limbs could probably squish a car, if there had been cars at that time. The ape sprints toward the fallen dinosaur, but gets smacked right in its face with the T-Rex's
Okay, so some species of dinosaurs did use their tails for defense, but it was not something that's known in tyrannosaurs. They are generally not depicted as using their tails as club weapons. They don't have their vertebrae don't have the stress zones to handle using them as weapons. They're mostly used for balancing while moving and hunting, or doing any other activity used for balance. They wouldn't have, generally speaking, been swinging them around to smack other animals with. I mean, not that it couldn't happen, but...
Enormous tail. The ape flies upward. You have to throw your head back to watch its flight. And still, the animal manages to avoid any damage thanks to its powerful arms. The T-Rex...
And it's like ninjutsu skills. Did you see that backflip it did? It got smacked in the face and it did a backflip. This is Karate Monkey's, defying the laws of physics.
Has already risen and is now racing towards the Gigantopithecus. With nowhere to hide, the ape uses its long arms to hold the T-Rex's mouth closed.
No.
Meanwhile...
That's not going to happen. Because they keep... And again, take note that the Gigantopithecus is being depicted as taller, and there's a whole scale, a whole level of magnitude that this T-Rex should be bigger. This would be more. I might believe that this was like a small Tarbosaurus. That might, or Nanocosaurus. How much did that Nanocosaurus weigh? Nanocosaurus. Sorry, Nanocosaurus is like one of my favorites too. 1,800 to 3,600 pounds. That'd be more like it. Yeah. As far as it would be more fair than this. There's so many other dinosaurs that would be a much fairer, more reasonable fight. Another Tyrannosaurus too, for that matter. That would be a better match against. I think Allosaurus would be. Allosaurus isn't a Tyrannosaur, but I think Allosaurus would be a great match. How much did Allosaurus weigh? Allosaurus was so widespread and diverse too. Allosaurus weight. Let's see. What about what did I give you? About one ton. So Allosaurus would still be a little bit bigger than Giganto. Yeah, someone with a Thagomizer against an ape would be lights out for the ape.
Its opponent does its best to open its jaws. Soon, the dinosaur succeeds. It sinks its teeth into the ape's thigh and tries...
Ooh, you know what would be a good fight for Gigantopithecus? I just thought about it. A Dilophosaurus. Because they were kind of lithe. And they weighed, I think, about the same, right? They were 23 feet long. And... where's the weight? 800... or with a weight of about 880 pounds. Dilophosaurus would be a good fight for Giganto, and it would not have the stupid deadly jaws. If you want to see that discussion, let me know, because I would love to have that discussion with my friend Dr. Dino. So let him know if you see him around that, yeah, we can talk about Dilophosaurus versus Gigantopithecus.
To shake the animal like a rattle. But the ape isn't that easy to defeat.
Okay, right here
on the dino's...
right here, this leg is done. This leg is broken. And he's bleeding out. He's bleeding out from the puncture wounds, because remember, you see these teeth is the size of a banana. And really, these this should be it. This should be the end of it. Yeah, the ape could throw some punches around while it lays there and bleeds out, but it's not coming back from this. This is done. This is the end of the fight.
Skull while keeping the T-Rex's mouth from moving. Now, keep in mind that this ape...
Now, the T-Rex doesn't have to hold on to the ape anymore here. It can do like a shark does. Leave the damage, walk away for a while, come back after the ape's bled out and have its food, have its meal, be done. All it needed was one bite on this ape to end the fight.
Ape was at least 3 times bigger than the modern-day gorilla and weighed more...
That is not a gorilla. What the heck? No, what is with this giant melon head? What is this ape? This does not look like a gorilla. I don't know what this is.
1,000 pounds. And still, nothing seems to be helping.
Wait a second. Did they just say that they could weigh...
And times bigger than the modern-day gorilla and weighed more than 1,000 pounds. And still, nothing seems to be helping. The ape is getting weaker. It's losing its strength.
It didn't weigh more than 1,000 pounds, just to be clear. That's a really high estimate for Giganto. And even that is still just a mouthful for a 9-ton... or even 6-ton. I said I'd give you the small end. Even a 6-ton Tyrannosaur. It's still a 1,000-pound ape is going to be just a mouthful, just crunch. This would be it.
The animal then attempts to get rid of the dino's jaws on his thigh. It musters up all its energy and opens the T-Rex's mouth. After
then
that,
bleeds.
the ape quickly frees its leg from the teeth prison and
as soon as the leg's free, it just bleeds out and dies. That's what's going to happen, right? That's how nature works. It's not going to go Rocky 5 on him or whatever. Which one's the one where he goes like blast Mr. T's face all to pieces?
and breaks free. Without wasting any time...
Oh, did you see that? He stood on his broken, damaged leg to kick with his... Let's watch that again. Okay, he gets his thigh free.
Opens the T-Rex's mouth. After that, the ape quickly frees its leg from the teeth prison and breaks free.
Stands on the broken, damaged leg and kicks the T-Rex in the mouth.
Wasting any time, the creature throws several punches.
And see, he's doing this like boxer stance. That's not apes. Ape would be putting his shoulders forward. I'm gonna be an ape for a second, okay? Check out my big titties. And he would be like, ah, showing his fangs, ah, and sticking his flanges out, like flapping them out. He'd be making himself look huge. He wouldn't be doing that. He'd be trying to intimidate, to make the T-Rex leave him alone to deal with his wounded leg if he got away. He'd be like, if he was, when he was hitting it, he would have been like that. Once he got it away, he would have been like that. He wouldn't pop up and start punching and kicking, right?
The T-Rex, knocking it to the ground. Soon, the dino can barely stand straight without falling over. It attempts to run away and have a rest, but the ape is too persistent. It isn't backing down. The T-Rex...
The ape would be, again, laying on the ground bleeding out at this point. But the T-Rex would probably do this. It would probably walk away to let the ape bleed out and then come back and eat it once it's dead. That would be the ecologically sound thing to do at this point. Maybe hang around nearby to make sure no other predators come and steal its kill.
Between 6 and 8 tons, and the bigger the animal is, the harder it goes down. But throwing all those punches is wearing the ape down. It starts to slow down. This buys the dino some time to recover. Once ready, it pushes the ape onto the ground with its massive head and tries to stomp the...
This would be the end. Steps on it and then bites it. Steps on it to hold him down, bites his head. Done. Fight over.
Opponent. The ape dodges and rolls out of the way. It even manages to grab one of the T-Rex's legs and flip the dino over.
Yeah. Again, a 300-kilogram ape grabbed the leg of a 9-ton theropod, or what do you say, 6 to 8-ton theropod, and flipped him. Oh, Ring's talking about doing the leg sweep now. It's too late. The leg sweep's done. T-Rex is on his back now.
But the ape's arms have become weaker after the struggle. The T-Rex...
This is done too. And again, the T-Rex's head would be as big as the ape's chest.
Manages to get up.
It would be all the way over to his nipple is how far this head would reach, crunching into this ape, and if they were actually scaled. And again, these bites here, the bite on the shoulder, the bite on the thigh, this is a broken shoulder, multiple lacerations, whether he pries it off or not, multiple lacerations.
And bites down on the ape's shoulder. This tires the Gigantopithecus even more. Without being able to use its arms, there isn't much the animal can actually do.
No roars, T-Rex.
The T-Rex has won this round. You can use this small break to get away from the giant animals. You're now in the thick tropical jungle, and the humidity there is turning your hair into an afro. Suddenly, you see something large and dark lurking behind the trees. Out comes the Gigantopithecus. Just great. Not again. This time, the creature seems to be ready for whatever comes its way. You see the...
It should be, again, bleeding out and dead. It should be done. There wouldn't be much left of it.
Trees in the distance move like ripples on a lake. The T-Rex pops out. It also looks ready for action.
It's probably followed the blood trail. Yeah.
Can think about is Why can't I just have a normal vacation? So you find yourself a nice comfy spot to get out of the way. Even though the Gigantopithecus was a native of the tropical jungle, studies showed this creature didn't climb trees. The ape was too large and heavy to climb trunks and swing from branch to branch.
Adult, we want to specify adults probably did not climb trees. The babies probably did. Most juvenile apes, all juvenile apes are excellent climbers. Even juvenile humans are excellent climbers. That's why we have jungle gyms and monkey bars and stuff.
Instead, it gathered food from the ground and was tall enough to pick fruit from trees, which was its main diet. Scientists know for sure that
it ate leaves and what else did Gigantopithecus eat? It ate herbs. It had a pretty varied diet. They actually did what was it? They did some tests on the teeth. Let me find that. I had the Dr. Pai Wenzhong from the Chinese Institute of Vertebrate Paleontology and Paleoanthropology. I think it's under the ecology section here. Just a second. That's about the teeth. Paleo diet. Okay, here's diet. Gigantopithecus is considered to have been an herbivore. Carbon-13 isotope analysis suggests consumption of C3 plants, such as fruit, leaves, and other forest plants, so C3 plants. The robust mandible of Gigantopithecus indicated it was capable of resisting high strain while chewing through tough and hard food.
Gigantopithecus went extinct during the Ice Age. Climate change wiped out all of its favorite foods, and for some reason, this species didn't take to eating greenery, such as grass and leaves.
It did eat. It says right here, C3 plants such as fruit, leaves, and other forest plants. Yeah, they have a remarkably lower rate of pitting caused by eating small hard objects than orangutans. So orangutans eat more small hard objects than they do. More similar to the rate it's seen in chimpanzees. So that's more of a generalist diet, whereas orangs are, definitely more frugivorous, the most frugivorous of the great apes.
The T-Rex was definitely designed to eat meat. Its diet consists of basically anything it could get its tiny hands on. The dino hunted animals and other dinosaurs. But
tiny hands. Again, these arms are still huge. They're just small compared to this 9-ton animal. They're still huge. They're still absolutely massive with two big hooked claws on the end. You don't mess with the T-Rex. You don't mess with the T-Rex arms. Don't underestimate its arms.
But it wasn't above scavenging. Oh, look, they're at it again. But this time, it's the ape that has a strong home advantage. Even though it can't technically climb trees, it can easily squeeze through bushes. It also knows the jungle like the back of its enormous head. And the T-Rex has troubles navigating through the dense jungle.
Well, so T-Rex theropods were pretty, because they move pretty serpentine through a forested region, right? The body would follow the head. They wouldn't have as much of an issue moving through the forest as like a sauropod would, for instance, where they're just really broad animals. Obviously, when it comes to theropods, T-Rex would probably be the worst at it just because it's such a wide animal. But besides being an extremely wide animal and having to accommodate for that, it wouldn't have especially difficulty, especially moving through the forest, or in this case, it'd be like a cloud forest, I guess, since we're talking about Giganto.
It keeps bumping into trees. The T-Rex looks lost. It can't seem to find the ape. It moves to grab a bite of whatever seems to be its opponent, but it's just a large bush.
They went on about how great this animal's sense of smell was early in the video, and now it's in the jungle. It can't smell the difference between a bush and a Gigantopithecus.
The dino gets angry and shakes it until only several branches and twigs are left. Meanwhile, the ape appears out of nowhere and throws a powerful punch.
That was actually an ape-like attack, though. That that was something apes will actually do. So at least it stopped doing kung fu and started acting like a primate.
T-Rex loses
or non-human primate.
its balance and topples over. It tries to bite the ape, but misses.
Now this Giganto's doing popping up and disappearing in different places. I guess this is supposed to be because of his jungle knowledge, his jungle lore. He should look more like King Louie than King Kong. I'm just saying. And yes, I do write King Louie and King Kong ship porn. No, not really. Not porn anyway. I had Chat GPT write a intimate scene between the two of them though, where they kissed.
The ape keeps hitting the dinosaur. The T-Rex manages to swing its tail and sends its opponent into a tree.
Again, tails not a weapon for general theropods. Not something that's actually gonna happen. But he whacked them into the tree.
Some fruit drop onto the ape's head. The animal grabs them and throws at the dino, trying to confuse it. But it's like throwing pebbles at a rock. The ape takes hold of a tree trunk and uses it as a shield to avoid tail swings directed at it. As soon as the trunk breaks, the ape catapults itself on top of the T-Rex, trying to wrestle the creature to the ground.
This ape has to have some like gamma powers or something. He's got to be a superhero, like a military experiment or something. This is not your what we typically would expect from Gigantopithecus to be leaping 12 meters into the air, more than over 12 meters into the air to land on the back of a Tyrannosaurus. Nor do we expect for that 300 kilogram ape to be able to buckle the 9-ton theropod under its meager weight.
The king of the lizards is crushed down by the ape's weight and can't find a way to free itself. It tries to get out of the opponent's grip several times. Once the dino succeeds, it scurries away out of the jungle. The big
I would
ape
never call any motion that T-Rex performs scurrying. Just scurrying doesn't sound right.
is the winner. Victorious, it bangs on its chest. Now, how are you supposed to get out of here?
All right. So, yeah, that was Brightside. Who would win? They got a whole series of these. Actually, let me see if I can show you guys what they got. They had recent hits. I guess they get a lot of. They got Megalodon versus Dunkleosteus. Here, let me show you. Yeah, Megalodon versus Dunkleosteus. Let's see here. Yeah, Megalodon versus Leviathan. Tiniest dinosaur versus scorpion. Biggest spider versus scorpion. Biggest lizard versus biggest snake. Or sea lizard versus biggest snake. So there's lots we can do on these. If you guys liked this, let me know, because I really like doing this. This was so much fun. I've never thought about doing responses to these kind of things, but ooh, they got ants versus termites. Yeah, maybe I'll do that one. I don't know though. I am kind of interested in this Megalodon versus Dunkleosteus one though. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Matt Powell versus a silverback. All right, so thank you for sticking around, everybody. I've kept over 20 of you all engaged with me for this whole video, so whole live stream. So that was I don't know what I'm going to call that. Bad biology, bad ecology. It's all a whole bunch of bad animal science. Naughty animal science. All right, so I will continue, I think, doing this as long as everybody likes it. So, and I kept so many people engaged with it. And maybe I'll do a poll to see which one we do next. We can just kind of go through these for a few weeks. Sound like fun? I think it sounds like fun. I do have my fundraiser, again, for my electrolysis, pinned in the pinned in the live chat there. So if you want to donate and help me get rid of this dysphoric problem that's causing me trouble, go ahead. But I just want to say, actually, appreciate everybody who stuck around, and hopefully you got some enjoyment out of my morning shenanigans. I'm going to go have some lunch. Maybe I'll have some Kentucky Fried Chicken or some KFC, some KFC to pass off the fundies. We'll see. Please remember to be kind, take care, and I'll see you next time.